Welcome to the Ice Guys, presented by the Hockey Podcast Network. Wednesday, April 13th. Ian Cameron with you. Jimmy Murphy will be joining me shortly. We're ready for a Wednesday NHL slate, which is 3 games in length. It was supposed to be 4 games initially, but Seattle and Winnipeg was postponed due to some weather situations going on in Winnipeg. So as a result, we just have 3 games on tap here on this Wednesday. Before we get into it, I want to thank everybody again for joining us on the Betcast last night. Another very entertaining night of hockey and a fairly profitable night of hockey for me. I was up on the pregame bets, cashed a couple of winners in terms of the live bets last night. That Ottawa-Detroit first period over 0.5 goals, where Ottawa scores in the dying seconds of the period. That was certainly a thrill. That is definitely for sure there. So, yeah, I mean, it was definitely a very good night. Lots of entertaining hockey games. We had some overtime games as well last night in NHL action. So, very entertaining. We thank everybody that joined us on the stream on the Betcast last night. We thank you guys for joining us there on that with that. And, of course, we're still going to keep doing the Betcasts every Tuesday for the rest of the regular season and the playoffs as well. Tuesday is probably going to be our Betcast night as well once the postseason begins. So we're looking forward to that. And obviously, the playoffs are just right around the corner. Like I said, there's only 2 Tuesdays left of regular season hockey. So looking forward to winding down the regular season and getting the playoffs going. That's for sure as the countdown is on before the Stanley Cup playoffs begin. All right, let's get to tonight's card. We will start off with the New York Rangers taking on the Philadelphia Flyers. The Rangers minus 210 road favorites here in Philly. The total 6 pretty much across the board here. Of course, last night, the Rangers end up losing 4-2 to Carolina. They played pretty well, all things considered, the Rangers, but a couple of good bounces that kind of went Carolina's way last night. When you look at the Rangers, I thought it was pretty even hockey game, but like I said, a couple of bad bounces that went against them in that game last night, and as a result, turned the game around. The first Carolina goal, Svechnikov banks it in off Igor Shesterkin. There was another situation. The second goal banks in off a Ranger player, and the third goal, Ranger defenseman blocks the shot, and the puck just stays there for Jordan Staal, and he wires it in past an unsuspecting Igor Shesterkin. So, hey, sometimes you make your own breaks. Carolina took advantage of them, and you got to give them credit for that for sure as they get the 4-2 win against the Rangers. Now Rangers looking to bounce back here tonight, taking on the Flyers. We'll see who's in net. You would expect Georgiev tonight for the Rangers with it being back-to-back. He's projected to be the goalie for the Rangers. Martin Jones probably going to be the goalie for the Flyers tonight. I see no reason why it won't be. He's actually played a little bit better lately. Well, I should say he was playing better in a couple of starts until Saturday. He played Anaheim. He started that game for the Flyers, and he didn't exactly play as well. Gave up 5 goals in that loss to the Anaheim Ducks. So we'll see how he fares here in this game. I'm certainly got my eyes up, set on the over here in this game at 6 in this one, rather than a side, because I do think the Rangers, I'd lean to them in regulation. But when Philadelphia is coming off the kind of game they had last night, like I say, no team wants to lose 9-2. And no team, is going to, I think, mail it in their very next game after a loss like that. So I would expect here the Philadelphia Flyers to be bringing a pretty solid effort to the ice tonight, trying to rebound. Now, they're not as good as the Rangers. We know that. But effort-wise, I expect it to be there tonight for the Philadelphia Flyers. Again, because of the fact you're talking about them just getting humiliated last night, essentially, by the Washington Capitals. So you look at the Rangers, they're going to be hungry. They're going to be fired up after a 4-2 loss to Carolina. They know the importance of this game with the fact now that the Carolina Hurricanes, by virtue of that victory head-to-head against the Rangers last night, have now pulled ahead by 4 points in the battle for first place with the same amount of games remaining. Both of these teams, Carolina and the Rangers, entering tonight, have 8 games remaining. So with the Rangers trailing Carolina by 4, this is a huge 2 points that they need to try to get tonight. They should, but I'm going to stay off the Rangers side, and I'm just going to look toward goals in this game. I think we will see them. I like over 6 here with the Rangers and Flyers. Again, we're expecting Georgiev and Jones to be the goaltending matchup here in this game between the Rangers and Flyers. As far as props are concerned, certainly Chris Kreider continues to just absolutely light it up right now for the New York Rangers. No question about that. We'll have to wait and see how he goes. And obviously, when you look at the situation here for the Rangers, you could go certainly with him in terms of points and goal score prop. Panarin, I think, was a little bit quiet last night. I think you might see him make a little bit more of an impact tonight against the Philadelphia Flyers in this game. As far as the Flyers go, it looks like Joel Farabee, who returned to the lineup last night for the Flyers, had a tough. Not everybody had a tough night for the Flyers, but keep in mind this is a guy that's perked up a little bit offensively for them the last couple of weeks. So I think from a prop standpoint, it's probably a good prop game because I think there'll be some goals in it. Farabee could be worth a look, and keep an eye. This is another situation we're going to see this a lot here down the stretch, final 2-3 weeks of the regular season, especially for non-playoff teams, bringing in these college kids that they drafted late in the season and putting them in the lineup. We saw it with Owen Power with Buffalo last night. We saw it with Matt Beniers for Seattle last night. You're seeing this really in a lot of different places, and we have another situation like that here with Philadelphia. They've got Bobby Brink, a 20-year-old, playing on the second line for them tonight with Lawton and Konechny. This is a guy that just wrapped up playing for the Denver Pioneers, where he was outstanding for them. He had 57 points in 41 games for the Denver Pioneers in college. Of course, the newly crowned national champions. They won the Frozen Four this past weekend, and now Bobby Brink's getting an opportunity here with the Flyers. Not only an opportunity, but a sizable opportunity, playing on the second line, getting a top six forward role on this team, entering the game tonight. So again, with these situations, we talk about this ad nauseum. These players that are just all of a sudden getting put into the lineup on a first line or a second line, and all of a sudden you can take advantage of some of those situations from a pricing standpoint. And like, for instance, you got a plus 320 out there tonight on Brink to score a goal when he's going to be getting the top line or, second line duty tonight in this game. You can get him in terms of a points prop at a pretty reasonable price as well tonight as well. So, those are the kind of things you want to look at. Like last night we cashed with Matt Beniers, from with the Seattle Kraken. He got an assist. He got a point on the first Seattle goal of the game last night. So these are really, really good situations in terms of player props to pounce on late in the season, because usually with these highly touted college prospects that are being called up to the big team and getting an audition, if you will, late in the season, they're not sticking these players in a third line or a fourth line role in a lot of instances. No, they're giving them the opportunity to get top six forward minutes, play on a top two line somewhere. And those are definitely good situations to keep an eye on. So definitely Bobby Brink, another one of those. We're going to talk about someone in the Columbus-Montreal game as well that fits that mold as well, along with, of course, as I mentioned, Beniers last night, Owen Power last night. I know the Leafs are talking with Matthew Nyes, one of their players they drafted that's coming out of college that played at Minnesota this year, whether he's going to get some time to play with the Leafs down the stretch in the regular season. So these are very interesting. And you talk about these are talented kids that want to make an impact when they get this opportunity. And as a result, if you look for props on some of these late season college prospects that end up in the lineup, and particularly in a top six forward role for their respective teams, man, you could really find yourself getting some great value on props involving those players, whether it's points or whether it's to score a goal. All right, next up, we've got Montreal and Columbus. Columbus minus 160, home favorite, 6.5 the total in this game. I certainly like Montreal enough to bet them here. It's just one of those games where you've got obviously two teams that are playing for exercise here out of the playoffs. But when you look at the Canadiens here, the last two losses, empty net goal to make it 4-2 for Winnipeg the other night against Montreal. They didn't play that badly, in my opinion. They lost 3-2 to Toronto. No shame in that. They're competitive in virtually every game, the Montreal Canadiens. And as far as Columbus goes, we're talking about a team that's just 2-8 their last 10 hockey games that's being asked to lay minus 160 here in this game tonight. So, just these kind of games late in the season where you've got a minus 160 favorite involving with one of the teams and they're that's out of the playoffs and they're playing another team that's out of the playoffs. It's almost like by virtue, I've got to look at the dog. And with this Montreal team, even though they've lost 2 in a row, they were right in the game against the Jets, right in the game against the Leafs, and the Jets are battling for playoff positioning. Toronto is obviously trying to secure second place in the Atlantic Division. So for Montreal, it's not exactly like they played poorly in those last 2 losses. Samuel Montembeault will get the start for the Canadiens. It'll be his second straight start. It'll be his third straight game where he's appeared in between the pipes for them because of the fact he came into the Saturday night game against Toronto and Jake Allen got injured in the first period. And Samuel Montembeault's not played that badly, I think, these last few games. In the Toronto game, look, Toronto didn't score after Samuel Montembeault entered the game. Actually, Austin Matthews got 1 goal to make it 3 for Toronto, and that was about it for the Leafs. The rest of he played well. I thought against Winnipeg, he gave up 3 goals, but he made a lot of saves to give Montreal a chance in that game. So I like the way he's played the last couple of games for the Canadiens. As far as Columbus is concerned, we should expect Elvis Merzlikins in net. Yes, indeed, confirmed for them. No real big shock there, considering they've just been starting in pretty much every single game for a very long period of time now. And here's another situation I mentioned. Of course, we talked about Bobby Brink for Philly. In the last game against the Rangers, we talked. I mentioned Matty Beniers for Seattle last night. Owen Power for Buffalo last night. Again, you've got these kids that played in college now that the college hockey season's over. They're now going to get a little bit of a late season look with the team that drafted them. And the Columbus Blue Jackets are doing that tonight with Kent Johnson, the 19-year-old center, signed a 3-year entry-level contract with the team on Friday last week. And, of course, he just completed his sophomore season with Michigan, 8 goals, 37 points in 32 games with the Wolverines in his college hockey season this past year, 5th overall pick in last year's 2021 draft by the Jackets. And he will be making his Jackets an NHL debut tonight against the Montreal Canadiens. And again, just like we mentioned before with Matt Beniers, was on the top line for Seattle last night against Calgary. Bobby Brink's playing on the second line for Philly against the Rangers. And here's Kent Johnson playing on a second line tonight for the Jackets, at least based on morning skate line rushes. He's going to be with Justin Danforth and Oliver Bjorkstrand, right behind the Lionel Roslovic Nyquist top line for the Blue Jackets. So, again, this is a guy that's going to get opportunity tonight for the Jackets in his NHL debut. And you've got obviously a talented kid. Obviously, he's making the jump to the NHL pro level tonight. So you're never quite sure how that's going to go. But as we saw with Matt Beniers with Seattle last night, the guy gets a point on his on the very first goal that Seattle scored last night, and he didn't look out of place. Owen Power didn't look out of place last night. Oftentimes, you're going to see these guys, be ready to make an impact, be ready to contribute in a positive manner for their respective teams, and I think you'll probably get a decent game like that for Kent Johnson. And again, you look at him to score tonight; it's plus 380. Again, you're talking about a terrific price there when he's going to get opportunities. He's may get a power play look. I'm not 100% sure. The latest power play units don't have him listed on either the first or the second unit, but that could be stale data. I think it would be very, very plausible to see maybe Kent Johnson get on the power play here tonight for the Jackets in this game. Yeah, definitely. And again, plus 380 is the price we're looking at in some spots for him to find the back of the net here tonight in this game, which is pretty good value, I would say, no question, especially someone that's going to be playing on the top line for the Columbus Blue Jackets tonight. So definitely good to see that kind of value on the horizon. And a good mention in the chat too by about Meyer. Meyer has been a nice little bright find lately for the Columbus Blue Jackets as well. Although he's, they've got him down on the fourth line, but he did get his first NHL goal against Philly and had 2 points in that game. Held off the points, held pointless the last couple games against the second game against the Flyers and the Red Wings. But that's my only concern with Meyer, Cheshire Cat, is the fact that he's going to be, down on the fourth line. So he's not going to get necessarily that opportunity that, say, the 19-year-old out of Michigan, Kent Johnson's going to get tonight in his debut for the Blue Jackets. So, again, we're going to see this pop up a lot. And this is the time of year we always see it, right after the college hockey season ends. Beniers with Seattle, Power with Buffalo, Brink now with Philly tonight, Johnson now with Columbus. And these are guys that are not going to be buried in the lineup when the team gives them this audition. They're going to give them opportunities for spotlight role, a top six role. And that's why with player props, whether it's to register a point or whether it's to score a goal, there's legitimate value on these college kids that get their first look here at the NHL level. And say no more. Matt Beniers gets a point on that first Seattle goal last night. That's just the proof right there. They're getting the opportunity. They're getting the top six forward role. They're certainly fired up beyond belief, making their NHL debut. And it's the perfect recipe for value in terms of player props, points, and goal scorer props, certainly with players that are getting these looks from the college ranks late in the season with the teams that drafted them. We got Jimmy Murphy with us now. What's up, Jimmy? How are you? Just before we talk tonight, what was your overall thoughts on last night? Certainly, we had the Bruins game pegged correctly, that they'd struggle with the Blues. Blues get it done there. Pittsburgh loses a wild one in overtime. LA gets the 2 points they needed. Thoughts on last night from you, Jimmy?
Yeah, look, I'll tell you too. Vancouver is a surprise to me too. Kudos to them. A lot of gutsy performance by them. But yeah, pretty much what we thought with the St. Louis game there. The Bruins right now are depleted. They lost Brandon Carlo during that game in the first period. So now they're just, they've got 3 of their top 4 defensemen are hurt. And then you factor in David Pastrnak as well. So of course they're going to struggle. Found it interesting, Bruce Cassidy, who I love. I love him for the fact that he's blunt. I love him that he's not afraid to call guys out. But I wonder if that was the right spot. He absolutely ripped his team last night. And I'm thinking the team's got to be saying, hey, bud, we've got 3 of our top 4 and D here out, plus Pastrnak, our best power play player.
Yep.
We're beat up. It's the end of the season. We're running on fumes.
Not the right time to really be that harsh and critical. Maybe,
it could be an interesting development to watch there, especially if they're 1-0 in the playoffs and all of a sudden he's on the hot seat. So anyhow, St. Louis really impressed me. I haven't watched him as closely lately during this win streak. And I'm just telling you, I don't know, off the top of my head right now, Ian, give me a team that can roll all 4 lines like that. Show me them right now.
Yep.
Really, look at the depth they have up front right now. It's insane. And now you get Krug back in the picture in the back end. Him and Falk together were tremendous, and their power play's great. So that team, all of a sudden, to me, is really popping my eyes as a legit Stanley Cup contender. So that's what I took away from that. And some of the other games, a lot of what we expected, some good stuff. I love Ryan Hartman's salute.
Yeah, Ryan Hartman, the middle finger salute to Evan. Hey, what? I know he got fined, but so what? It's the heat of the moment. It's playoff time is like 2 weeks away.
Yeah.
So it is absolutely time that we, settle down and not get carried away when things get heated.
Oh yeah, good call by you on Zetterlund, as Joe Free is saying.
Yeah, you got to be careful with looking at these. That was, and like I say, we're talking about a guy that was on the top line, and he's not priced like it. That's the whole crux of that bet, and it ended up coming through. It was plus 5,850 to plus 600 for him to score a goal last night for the Devils. And take a look at him the next time New Jersey plays, which I think is probably tomorrow night, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, against Colorado. Going to be tougher there because Colorado's going to be tougher to score against for New Jersey than that Arizona team was last night. But nevertheless, keep an eye on this with Zetterlund. If he's going to get those top line minutes again, and I've got every reason to think he will, considering, he goes up to that top line and scores the very first goal for the Devils last night. You're going to keep getting some good prices. And there may be a slight adjustment game to game, but I think it's going to take a while before they adjust that price properly on him. And that could be something you take advantage of for a few games, as long as he remains up on that top line with Hischier and Sharon Govich. And boy, what a line they were last night for the Devils, handing Arizona that loss. But yeah, you got to shop around. There's so many books that are that are really good now with NHL player props, but not every book's going to have every player. So it's very, very important to shop around. That's the best advice I have regarding that. All right, Jimmy, Wednesday card, we already talked Rangers, Flyers. Rangers minus 210, road favorites, 6 the total in that one. What do you like there?
Well, I mean, look, the Flyers, obviously, they're done. And that was embarrassing last night. And then to have to turn around and play the Rangers right now, it's just a tall task for that team. I can't imagine their confidence is too good, too high right now. And there's a lot of things that I don't like about that Flyers team. And I think the biggest one is one that Alex always jumps on, and that's Mike Yeo. I mean, this guy has done nothing to change the culture there. So now you're getting the Rangers, who lost to Carolina last night, are going to just want to bounce back, and they're going to take it out on Philly. This could get ugly again for Philly. So I'm going to take the Rangers team total over, and I'm going to take the Rangers puck line.
All right. And I think that's the right side, too. Like, I think the Rangers are winning. Even with Georgiev in net, I think they're going to end up winning this game. The one little nagging concern is, no team, no matter how bad they are, or the season's been, or how poorly they're struggling, no team likes to get embarrassed 9-2 like they were by Washington last night. But at the same point in time, are they really good enough to do anything about it? I don't know about it. Maybe the effort is strong tonight, but the effort should be damn strong for the Rangers too, because if they want to have any inkling of trying to track down Carolina after losing to them head-to-head last night 4-2. Now that they're 4 points back, you got to get 2 points in games like this. And we'll see if the Rangers can do that. But I like the over in that game. I certainly wouldn't fault anyone, including Jimmy, for liking the Rangers team total over. I think they'll be able to light the lamp there. As far as Montreal-Columbus goes, I was just talking about it as you entered, Jimmy. I like Montreal as a dog here just because, look, the Winnipeg game, competitive effort, even though they lost. Toronto game, competitive effort, even though they lost. And they've actually, oddly enough, been decent in this little road underdog role lately. They beat Tampa Bay, as a road underdog. They were somehow a road dog of like this same price against New Jersey, and they went into New Jersey and beat down the Devils, and I think scored 7 goals in that game as well. So, with two teams not in the playoffs, I just have a hard time seeing either of these teams when it's two non-playoff teams facing each other being priced at minus 160. And I just have a real doubt saying we're really going to put Columbus that much ahead of Montreal right now. So I think there's some value on the Canadian side. And I do like this over 6.5 as well with the Canadiens and Jackets tonight, especially with the Kent Johnson, that infusion of that, that college prospect in the lineup. I think you'll see a greater push for offense now from the Jackets with him in the lineup, and certainly Montreal, more offense than defense. Certainly, even though I like the way Montembeau's played, I think Columbus will score, and I think Montreal will as well tonight. So I like the Habs. I like the over as well. What do you think, Jimmy?
Yeah, I'm going to go. I'm not sure on a total over, but I'm going to take the over in the first period. I know it's not the best value, but I like that there. I'm also going to take the Canadiens on the puck line in the first period, and I'm going to take the Canadiens overall as an underdog on the money line.
All right, there we go. Good stuff. And like I say, Montreal, we've ended up just basically I've taken them a bunch of times as underdogs, and I've been timing it well. I really have, where, we've been on this Montreal team at the right time, and taking them in these nice little underdog spots. And I think with them off 2 losses now, I think it's a good time to jump back in now with Montreal tonight at a nice plus 140 price. By the way, the Montreal props, Josh Anderson, Cole Caulfield, Suzuki. Keep it simple. Those are the guys that are making an impact offensively most nights right now for Montreal.
I would reckon to maybe do a little on something on Dvorak. He's been playing much better lately. He's been pressing. He's been creating offense, setting up goals, but not scoring. Yep. You could probably get some great value on him. I'll see if I can find it right now, but that could just be a fun one as well. Don't go crazy. Just a small little prop, but it might get you some good little extra money to compensate for a loss you may have.
Yeah, absolutely. No question. Those are the ones to maybe look at when you just see them. You see things turning. You see them becoming more of a factor, getting more chances, being more assertive, getting more opportunities. And that's sometimes eventually the floodgates might open.
Rewarding.
Something's going to go in. So
yeah,
I'll remember that.
Plus 325 right now for Dvorak to score.
All right. Awesome. And you know what? I will definitely shout Jimmy out if Christian Dvorak finds the back of the net tonight.
We got
in this
Torrey
game.
Krug last night.
You did, absolutely. And someone in the chat mentioned that. Yeah, great call. And
On his
we
birthday.
both liked it. The difference is I forgot to bet it, and I'm
Oh,
very, very ticked at that. But
yeah,
it was just perfect situation.
man, he played a hell of a game. Wow.
And he did. Torrey Krug was great. And you know what? You can tell he wanted to win that, and he wanted to score against his former team, because when he scored that goal, he saw that open ice. He saw that open space to move into the slot area, get in a prime scoring position.
Out, what's his name?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just it was great. That was a great goal. And then when that pump face and that, like, it was like a game-winning goal in the playoffs or something for him.
Yeah.
Sure, he was looking right up at the skybox to Don Sweeney.
Have a nice little look up at Don Sweeney. See, this is what you're missing, Donnie.
Give him the Hartman salute.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, indeed. No question. That was a great game from him. Great game from the Blues overall.
Yeah.
All right, final game. A tough spot here for the LA Kings. It really is, against the Colorado Avalanche. Colorado minus 260, home favorite, 6 the total in this game. Obviously, LA needs points, and it's desperation in every game. It should be from here on out for them. And look, credit to them, took care of business. They had to get those 2 points last night against Chicago. They were my best bet on the show yesterday. I thought they would show up. They'd rise to the occasion after a disappointing 3-game losing streak going into last night. But they snapped the losing streak. They beat Chicago 5-2. Keep in mind, the losing streak came to Minnesota, Edmonton, and Calgary. So they lost to very good hockey teams, LA, during that 3-game losing streak. But they bounced back with the win against Colorado. But, that 3-game losing streak I just mentioned, they lost to 3 really good teams, Calgary, Edmonton, and Minnesota, on that 3-game losing streak for the Kings. Well, guess what? You had to play another really good team tonight. And that seems to be the stumbling block lately for the LA Kings. They're starting to look like a team right now that's beating okay teams to below average teams. And the teams that are some of the best, they're starting to struggle to step up in class in those type of games overall. So that's becoming a concern for the Kings a little bit. Of course, we mentioned yesterday, no Drew Doughty for the rest of the season. That hurts. No question about that. You know what? We're going to find out, Jimmy, with Doughty obviously out for the rest of the season. If they get in the playoffs and they still have work to do, we're going to find out a lot more about Sean Durzi. We're going to find out a lot more about Jordan Spence. You're going to need more from Matt Roy, Alex Edler, Oli Mata on this blue line. These are all guys that are going to have to step it up big time because those are big minutes, big responsibility that Doughty has because he plays in every situation. So let's see how these guys step up. I like Durzi. Durzi, to me, is going to be a good player on that blue line for the Kings. I think there's some real high ceiling potential for him there. This is a difficult spot, though. We always talk about this when you're back-to-back on the road and you're playing in Colorado on the second of the back-to-back, and it's the thin air, it's the high altitude. You know how that could really wear down a team, especially as it goes. So maybe LA early in the game rides a little momentum from last night, but I just worry as that game goes along with a very rested Colorado team, who hasn't played obviously since Saturday night when they beat Edmonton, thanks to the heroics of Kemper. They actually got outplayed pretty heavily by the Oilers, but Kemper was magnificent, and the Avs won that game 2-1 in overtime. That's their 6th straight win. They're very well rested, and they could really, really be flying around here against this Kings team coming in on a second of back-to-back games. It looks like in terms of injuries, Kadri's still out, Landeskog's still out, Ryan Murray's still out for the Colorado Avalanche tonight in this game. But there is some good news in this one where Eric Johnson has missed some time. He's going to be back on the blue line for the Avs. So it looks like it's going to be Devon Taves, Cale Makar, Bo Byram, Josh Manson, Eric Johnson, Samuel Girard as the starting 6 defensemen. And, other than maybe they're going to replace one of those guys with Jack Johnson come playoff time, that's pretty close to their regular 6 defensemen right there. So Colorado definitely a little healthier tonight on the blue line. I hate to do it, but I would only look toward maybe a puck line on Colorado here, -1.5. I know LA's desperate for points, but this is just such a difficult scheduling spot for them coming off the Chicago game and going to Denver on the second night of back-to-backs. Colorado puck line is around even money, -110 to lay the 1.5 with Colorado. I'm not sure I'll pull the trigger, but I definitely have a lean in that direction with Colorado -1.5 puck line here, minus 110. Jimmy, what do you think here? Kings, Avs.
This, it's a tough one. I mean, the Kings really need it, and a real gutsy win by them. And obviously the way they've been ravaged by injuries and losing such a character guy like Doughty is huge. But I got a feeling on the Kings on this one. I don't know why, and I'm going to follow that gut, and I'm going to follow them all the way to overtime in a shootout, and that's why I'm going to take a draw in this game. I don't know if they win, but I think they at least get a point out of this.
All right, so you're going to look toward the draw here with the Avs and the Kings here, which you can get obviously at a phenomenal price. The draw, I'm looking at it right now, is plus 375.
There you go.
The draw here in this one, that the Kings just hang around, just hang in there, get out of there with at least a point, and see if you can scrap a point out of this game. Cal Peterson probably will be in net tonight on the back-to-back. Quick was in net last night against Chicago. He's going to have to be a lot better because obviously Cal Peterson did not have one of his better games on Sunday against Minnesota in that 6-3 loss, gave up 6 goals to the Wild in that game. But I would assume, hasn't been confirmed, but I would assume it's going to be Cal Peterson, the goalie tonight for the LA Kings here in this matchup against the Avalanche tonight. So, but we'll wait for confirmation with that. All right, that's the Wednesday card. Like I said, very short card, shorter show today. Reminder before we wrap it up, best bets, and to wrap up the show, that talk about DraftKings Sportsbook, official sports betting partner of the NHL. And a reminder that new customers can bet just $1 on any NHL team, get $150 in free bets if that team wins. If DraftKings Sportsbook isn't available in your state yet, you can still play for huge cash prizes with DraftKings daily fantasy hockey contests. DraftKings giving all new customers a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes with their first deposit. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code THPN. Bet just $1 on any NHL team and get $150 in free bets if that team wins. That's promo code THPN at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. Must be 21 years of age or older. Must reside in a DraftKings Sportsbook state. New customers only. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, sign up for an account, and use the promo code THPN. All right, best bets for this Wednesday card. I believe Jimmy and I both swept our best bets last night. St. Louis for Jimmy, and it was LA against Chicago for me. So we'll see if we can give you an encore here on this Wednesday night. Jimmy, what do you like for best bet?
Well, I'm going to give you 2 best bets. One is not a hockey bet, and I'll start with that. My Liverpool Reds are about to take the field at Anfield right now, and I'm going to go with them -1. You can get some good value on that still at -118. I know that they just need to win aggregate, so they might be in a position later where they're tied and they settle because they've already got the aggregate and they just sit back. But I think this team likes to carry some momentum into the next round, and I see them winning by at least a goal here today in the Champions League. As for my best bet in hockey, I'm going to go with that Rangers. I just like that Rangers puck line there. I mean, they got to bounce back. Philly's just done and lost, and the Rangers need it way more. So give me that Rangers puck line.
All right, New York Rangers puck line -1.5. Not a bad price there. Looking at plus 120, plus 125 right now with the Rangers puck line for Jimmy with his best. What is that, Jimmy late? Is that what you put on your?
Yeah, because I was late today, bud. Sorry about that.
That's okay. Well, again, we're late every day. I usually don't start this show till 5-10 minutes past the hour, but that's normal. But that's all right. It's a short
random
show.
Crazy news day today. I don't know why, but been right since I woke up.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we got another marathon edition of the Ice Guys tomorrow, obviously on Thursday with a 12-game slate. So I'm going to try to start it as close to 2 p.m. Now, that's easier said than done, as anybody that tunes in daily knows. I mean, bet the under 0.5 times we start right at 2 p.m. Eastern during the week. But we'll try very hard to get this show started tomorrow as close to 2 p.m. Eastern time as possible. But as we have a big slate, 12 games on tap for Thursday. All right, my best bet. I'm going to go to that right back to that Rangers-Flyers game, and I'm going to go over 6 with the Rangers and the Flyers. I'm expecting a matchup of Georgiev in net for the Rangers, Martin Jones for the Flyers, And after a couple of great starts, Martin Jones wasn't so good against Anaheim. And I think the Rangers are going to remember the last time they faced Martin Jones, and Martin Jones was phenomenal. And the Rangers deserved the win in that game. Philly went to New York and beat them in a shootout. I think you're going to see the Rangers have a much better night offensively against Martin Jones tonight. But I think the Flyers, I think the Rangers will win, but I do think the Flyers are not going to roll over, play dead tonight. When you lose 9-2, you got to show up and play hard the very next game, the very next night. I think Philadelphia will do that and will also chip in a little bit with some offense of their own against, obviously, a backup goalie, and there is a drop-off between Shesterkin and Georgiev. So I like goals both ways here, and we'll go with that for my best bet. New York Rangers, Philadelphia Flyers, over 6, -110 for my best bet here for this Wednesday NHL card. And that'll wrap up this edition of the Ice Guys. Thanks to everyone for joining us. Hit the like button on the way out. A reminder, the Ice Guys is live Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday and Sunday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms: Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and iHeartRadio. Download the Ice Guys podcast when you can't watch the show live. For Jimmy Murphy, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Wednesday night. Enjoy the games and good luck. And we will talk to you again tomorrow on Thursday for a dozen NHL games on the Thursday card. And we'll break them all down for you, as we always do on Thursday right here on the Ice Guys, presented by the Hockey Podcast Network.